Welcome, Chef Dave, to Rockledge Ranch Historic Site at Garden of the Gods.
It is my honor to be here.
We're going to do a buckwheat sourdough bread. It's a very simple bread.
This is interesting because buckwheat normally grows in open terrain because it doesn't require much food from the soil.
Buckwheat is not very well known. Most of the visitors to the park don't know anything about it. Early expeditions to Colorado, they called it the Great American Desert. It was so dry, and unlike what it is right now that's treed and green, it was one large open field. And Galloway, for some reason, had the intuition to bring buckwheat from New York and grew it here. And so in the open fields where he could flood it from the springs, it grew well on the poor soil. It's slightly bitter, but it's a very unique and delightful flavor, and it was very popular all over Eastern Europe and throughout Russia. If you go pre-1900, everybody kept their own sourdough starter. And that's partly what got me excited about this. This particular starter actually came out on the Oregon Trail. So this one is 160 years old.
Ooh.
And I've baked bread with it every week for the last 30 years.
Precious gold.
Yeah. Plain flour, roughly a half a cup. And I suspect he did it so often he didn't use exact measuring cups.
Correct. It's like when they cook something, the measuring cup is here.
Yes, yes. And your eye, because you've done it so many times.
Yeah.
Water. Okay, now we mix and mix and mix. It's starting to bubble.
Beautiful.
Can you smell the yeast already?
Oh, can I?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we don't have smell-o-vision.
Not yet.
That goes back to 160 years. This is quite a historical accomplishment, I would say.
We'll now let the sourdough that's been refreshed sit for an hour and become very active.
Let's see.
Oh, yes.
Wow.
Now it's really going. You can see all the bubbles. The yeast is very happy. So now let's start adding the flours and the other ingredients. Let's start off with buckwheat. We'll go for about a cup and a half. You can see the dark, almost black color. I think that's the specks from the hull, because when they grind it, they usually leave the hull on.
I think this one gives a good flavor, though.
Oh, yes. And we'll do a couple of cups of whole wheat. So this is going to be a hearty bread.
Gotcha.
Okay, if you want to start stirring, so let's add a little more liquid and that'll give you something to stir. So that's the milk, the honey, and the butter.
That you steeped.
Yes, I always think of my yeast as a little bit like a baby. You got to keep them warm and you got to feed them.
You're right.
And then once we got it a little bit far along, let's pause and put in about a teaspoon and a half of that salt right there.
All right.
Salt inhibits the yeast in general, and so I tend to add the salt near the end. It seems to help getting things to bulk up. It's already pretty stiff.
Well, that's your 160-year-old yeast. If you appreciate sourdough, that's the ticket. Yeast comes right through it. Look at how nice we got it.
Yep.
Oh, fantastic.
I think we're far enough along we can turn it out on the board and get sticky hands kneading it a little bit.
And all from scratch. Can you believe that?
So it looks like it's shaped up well.
So now we're going to cover that. And for how much time?
Usually another hour. Okay, I think it's probably ready to go in the Dutch oven.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's more active, a little bit damp.
You just want to make sure it doesn't stick.
Right, and lard seems to do really well with the cast iron. I don't know quite why, but it does. Now it needs to be warm for about an hour so that it'll rise and start to fill the Dutch oven. So one of the common ways I do it is to take it out and put it in the sun. The sun on this black metal, it rises great.
In no time.
And then once we get it risen, we'll put it in the Orno and we'll bake. Okay, it's been about 45 minutes, so I'm sure the bread is done.
Good, good, good.
Okay. And let me get the lid off of there and you get the first look.
Beautiful.
Oh, it came right out.
Did a great job, made a lot.
Okay.
What do you think about that?
That looks good. I think we ought to try it. Mind if I join you?
Oh, wow. To me, what it tastes like, it's nutty. And I think the buckwheat is what really brings it to the forefront.
And it is a little crumbly, it's a little dry, but it feels very earthy, very solid.
Exactly.
And I like it with something like butter, but I also like it with a really good cheese.
Or maybe a piece of prosciutto.
Oh, that sounds so good.
It's fantastic.
So you can tell I love doing it.
Not only can I tell, I can taste it. Just spectacular.